What's up guys, how you doing? I hope you guys are well. Welcome to another video. So today we are going to talk about how you can take great quality photos, or at the very least better quality photos with your mobile phone. The cameras in these things now are getting so good, they're incredible, and yet people out there are still taking photos and looking at them and think, I would like them to be better. And I thought we would try to address that right now, because 9 times out of 10, when people are taking photos, it's got nothing to do with the phone camera that they're using. It's to do with a few other simple techniques that you can use to make your photos better. We're going to have a look at that today. I think it's going to be a good video, guys. Let's get into it. Before we get into the video, I just want to make sure I send out a final reminder that this Sunday, right here on my YouTube channel, we will be doing a live Q&A. Just to confirm, that is this Sunday, the 2nd of June, 8 PM UK time. Make sure you guys are there. It would be great to get as many people involved as we can. Be on there, no set duration of time, as long as it takes to chat to a few people, answer a few questions. I think it should be fun, so please make sure you join me Sunday, 8 PM UK time. I look forward to seeing all of you guys there. Hope you guys are going to enjoy this video. If you do, please do hit that thumbs up button, hit the like on the video. That is probably the single biggest thing that you guys could do to help me out on my channel and to help me out with my video, is to go and press that button. It takes 2 seconds. If you're watching this on your phone, it's going to be like around here somewhere. If you're watching it on a computer screen, I think it might be kind of more along the middle here somewhere. But either way, take the 2 seconds, go press that like button for me, because it helps out the channel more than you probably realise. If you're new to the channel, please do think about subscribing. Loads more videos to come, and loads more videos already on my channel that you should go and check out as well. Make sure you go check out my social media channels. You can find me on Instagram, 3 different places on Instagram. I'm just going to put them all right here on the screen to make it easier for you guys. The bottom one there, Rob Samble's Photo, you can find me on Twitter using that one as well. Go check me out over there, guys. Hopefully there'll be some cool stuff that you like. Right, let's get into this subject matter. How do we take better quality photos with our mobile phones? So, first things first, we're going to need a model, and we don't have an actual model available to us today. So instead, we've got the next best thing. We have got our member of the Lego Rebel Alliance fighter pilot crew. We're going to call him George. George is going to help us out with today's video. He is going to be the subject for our main photo that we're looking at. So, first things first, we could just take a photo of George, right? Let's take a photo of George right here. Looking good, George. Looking good. And there he is. That's how a lot of people would take a photo. They would literally just take a snapshot of the thing they're trying to take a photo of, and that would be done and dusted. But actually, it's the thought process that goes into before you press that snap shutter button that's going to make the difference. So what can we do to try to make that photo look better? First thing I think is we can have a look at the background. So how's about we try something different? So all I've done is I've taken him off my coffee table where the first photo was taken, and moved him onto a bench in my conservatory, which has got like a bit of a nice brick background. Okay, so compared to the original photo just stood there on the laptop, if we move him through here, it just looks so much cleaner, such a better background. And that, guys, is point number 1. Think about your backgrounds. Okay, so the second step, what can we do next? We've thought about the background, we've got our subject in a good spot. What do we think about next? The next one I'm going to talk about is the angle that you take the photo from. So point 2 is angles. And by angles, when we're looking at this model, or looking at George, you can see we just need to kind of test it out. One side or the other side. Where is he going to look best in terms of taking this photo? And I actually decided straight on from lower down made him look better in the image. It was just the best angle to capture him from. Just straight on, you can see his whole face, his body, there's no shadows across him. It was just the best angle for him. And just by doing that, the angle that we've taken that photo from, I think has improved it. It makes it look better. It gives it a better perspective. And that moves us on to point number 3. Conveniently, point number 3 is all to do with the rule of thirds. It's to do with where we place the subject in the frame. We don't always need to place it smack bang in the middle, and that's what so many people do when they take a photo. They put the subject smack bang in the middle of the frame, when actually by thinking a little bit more about it, we might be able to come up with something more creative. The rule of thirds, in very simple terms, is to do with a third of the way across your image, or 2/3 of the way across, up and down, giving you reference points which are, generally speaking, pleasing positions to take the photo. Now, you can actually turn on grid lines on most camera phones that show you that very grid. So let's have a look at that right now. So you can see here on the screen the grid lines which go across. Now you can use these to decide where you want your image placement to be. You can go over to one side, hang on, just make sure he focuses, go over to the other side, get that over there as well, and you can just decide. And I think actually over here to the left is going to be the best place for George to go. It just puts him somewhere in the frame that makes it a little bit more creative than being your bog standard photo with him in the middle. So that rounded up point number 3, guys, where to place your subject in the frame. So those are generally the 3 things that we can do before we take the photo. Once we get to that stage and we've taken the photo, what can we do after that point? And in very simple terms, that is to edit the photo. It doesn't have to be the final point when you take the photo. You can edit it. And I'm not talking about getting into Photoshop or anything crazy, any kind of professional editing. I'm talking about something you can do right there on your phone. And when I do it, an app which I use myself, an app called Snapseed. You can find Snapseed on Google Apps, on Apple Store, various different places, wherever you tend to get your apps from, you should be able to find Snapseed. I should just say, I've got nothing to do with Snapseed. Video is not sponsored or anything like that. Snapseed is genuinely the app that I use myself to edit photos on my phone. Let's have a look at how it works. Okay, so you open up your app, open up Snapseed, and you can just select the photo. You literally just open it, pick the photo you want to edit. There he is, there's George. And there's a whole host of things you can do in here. First thing we're going to do is to crop the image and just make sure we've got it in, you know, roughly. We've got a little bit of dead space which we'll take out and crop the photo to get George pretty much where we want him. And then from here, we can also just make sure we adjust the frame by the angle. So you can use the rotate feature to make sure the image is straight. We're going to use the line across the background there, across the bottom of the wall, to make sure we've got the image straight and that we're fairly happy with it. Once we've done that, we can go in and adjust some levels. Now, there's all different levels that we can adjust within here. Brightness will be the first one that we tweak, just to make sure we've got the exposure right. So you can go brighter, darker, and I think probably around about there is probably going to be right. We don't need to do anything too silly because actually the camera pretty much adjusted it correctly. Right, contrast. We can tweak the contrast slightly. Again, we don't want to do too much, otherwise it makes the image almost go slightly grainy. But just a slight little tweak on the contrast I find to help. Saturation, you don't want to go too far with the saturation because you can see it makes it like way over coloured or way too, well, almost black and white. But we just want enough saturation that we get the colours to kind of pop. The orange jumpsuit really stands out, which is nice. Okay, next up is details or structure, which is basically to do with slightly sharpening the image. Now, you don't want to go too far with this because otherwise it makes it look a bit grainy. So just enough that we slightly sharpen the image just to make it pop a little bit more. Now, just looking at it, I think we need to crop it slightly more because actually we've got a little bit too much dead space. Want to make sure we get George nicely in the frame. Make sure the space between his head and toes from the edges of the frame works. Okay, now we're just going to add a slight bit of vignette to this image. Vignette is making the corners darker. We don't want too much, just a little bit, just to kind of almost round off and really, it makes the colours pop on George himself a little bit. Once we've done that and we're happy, we can export the image, save a copy for ourselves, and then that will load and we can view the image properly. Let's have a look. So there we have it, guys. At the end of all that, we've got a much better photo. If we think about the original photo, just George stood right there on my laptop, and then we think about the 4 steps we've followed since that point. The background for the photos, where we place the camera in terms of the angle we take the photo from, where we place the subject within the frame, thinking about the rule of thirds, and then fourth aspect is editing that photo. What can we do to improve it after it has been taken? Now, I know this particular photo was a bit silly. We were just taking a photo of George. We're not calling you silly, George. Don't get crazy now. We're not calling you silly. Okay, George, just calm down. So, nothing to do with that photo. You can use this on pretty much anything. What do you commonly take photos of? You might be taking a photo to sell something on eBay. Let's pretend taking a photo of a mug. Simple snapshot of the mug, chucked it right there on the side in the kitchen, took a photo of it. If we follow the few basic steps I've covered in this video, here's how that photo could look. There we go. I think you would agree, so much better than the original photo. You could also do this with people, right? You might be taking photos of your family. So here we go. Here's a photo I took of Mrs. Sambles. First time she is featured in person in the video. Here's a photo I took in the garden this afternoon of Mrs. Sambles. There we go, and of course, as beautiful as of course she looked in that photo, I think we could make it better. So I followed a few of the basic rules. I turned round, I got her to stand in front of like the fence paneling on our shed, included my rules about the angle, where the placement is in the frame, and I edited the photo using Snapseed. I actually used Snapseed on this occasion to turn the photo to black and white, which I think has improved it as well. Here is the final photo. So there you go, the same rules work when you're taking photos with people on your phone as well. So there you have it, guys, simple steps that I think will help you take better photos with your phone. Get out there, go take some photos of stuff, enjoy yourselves. Those of you who are worried that there wasn't any sports photography in this video, don't worry, that's going to be coming on my next video, which will be on Tuesday, a continuation of our Gear and Tips Tuesday series that we're going to be doing. So I'll see all you guys then. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you on the next one.